The committee at Augusta National Golf Club are so obsessed with maintaining the apparent perfection of their course that even the grass is painted green and waters dyed blue. But the home of the Masters was not always so picture-perfect. In fact, it was originally meant to look like a small, rugged corner of Scotland. That small corner is arguably its most famous, at least in the golfing world, the Old Course at St Andrews. There, rolling dunes and wild fescue grasses dominate a golf course shaped by Mother Nature, not a man on a mower. The only way to find an azalea near the home of golf is take a trip to home. Based out Augusta National's founder was the great amateur golfer Bobby Jones, and he enlisted a British architect, Dr. Alistair Mackenzie, to create his own tribute to the Old Course in his home state of Georgia. Jones remains the greatest amateur golfer of all and still has claims on being the best in history. Full stop. He won 13 of the major championships of the era, including 3 Opens, 4 U.S. Opens, 5 U.S. Amateur Championships and 1 British Amateur Championship. Yet he had a bitter introduction to the Old Course. At the Open in 1921, he quit after 11 holes of the third round and tore up his scorecard in a rage. Jones, however, came back 6 years later and fell in love with it, winning the Claret Jug and then the British Amateur there again in 1930 to complete the fabled Grand Slam, winning every major available in one calendar year. Tired of the global fame he had won, Jones retired from nearly all competition and returned home to find a piece of land fit to build his own private golfing nirvana. Along with co-founder Clifford Roberts, an investment banker, he settled upon a former peach and indigo plantation in the city of Augusta, a large market town on the Georgia/South Carolina border that was near the center of the cotton trade. Although no inland site could ever hope to replicate the links conditions of St Andrews, the Fruitlands nursery site did have the type of sandy soil most suited to golf, and meant Jones could allow his course to play in the manner of a links, hard, firm and capricious. Jones wanted players to use the contours of the ground to roll the ball into greens rather than flight it through the air all the way to the pin in the style of most American inland courses. He and Mackenzie constructed mounds, humps and hollows that caught errant shots, and some good ones too, for the unlucky few who caught a bad bounce. The greens were large and severely contoured, just like at St Andrews. The course was stripped of most trees, and wide open to the elements. Once his masterpiece was completed in January 1933, Jones immediately sought to host a tournament and the Masters was born a year later, in the guise of the Augusta National Invitational. Due to Jones's unparalleled reputation, it had little difficulty in attracting the game's elite players. But Jones's vision did not last long. He played in the first 12 Masters, past his prime and never contending for victory, before suffering serious health problems. In 1948 he was diagnosed with syringomyelia, a crippling and agonizing spinal condition, and his influence at the club waned. Roberts was not the fan of links golf that Jones was, and as chairman he started to reshape Augusta National into the course so familiar today, even while his co-founder was significantly involved. The rough and rugged ground was flattened, the greens reshaped, the bunkers enlarged and finessed. The wide open, expansive course that can be seen in old photographs became more enclosed as pine trees were allowed to flourish, closing holes off from each other. It became the epitome of American parkland golf. Tee it high and let it fly. A rare critic of Augusta National, one Bob Harlow, writing in the Augusta Chronicle in 1938, welcomed the changes. It was a notable experiment, but an effort to duplicate the natural terrain of one country in another location, by artificial means, does not work out successfully except in Hollywood. The arrival of television, particularly color broadcasts, and the exports of Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus and co sent pictures of the Masters out to a global audience, and the club became more and more obsessed with refining its image of golfing perfection. American broadcasters CBS even play artificial bird song over their pictures to enhance the idea that Augusta is a secluded paradise. But, no matter how hard the committee try, they cannot manipulate certain facts. Augusta National is in fact in the middle of the second largest city in Georgia, only behind Atlanta. Magnolia Drive is accessed by turning off a major arterial road. Few birds live there. Sometimes the azaleas don't bloom at the same time as the Masters. And, whisper it, their revered fairways were once home to 5,000 turkeys and maintained by German prisoners of war. But that's another story entirely.